Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, because EA hasn't released any SBC today, they did the whole winter refresh update, letting you guys know that they're going to do the winter refresh. We're going to go ahead and show you guys the formation slash tactics that I'm using now. Take into account that these aren't perfect because I don't play the game that much. Right now, in regards to me creating content, I haven't really been streaming. If I stream and if I play the game off stream, that's when it would be a thing where it's oh, Inception's playing a lot. He's kind of got the formations and tactics down, but I don't, right? So just take it with a grain of salt that it might not be that great, but it's the formations and tactics that I use in regards to the team and quality that I have, and it's worked out really well for me. So let's go ahead and check out the formation. So this is the team that I'm using. Team is very, very important in regards to you being able to rotate to any type of formation that you want. Now that I have different players in this formation in particular, I am going to be using the 4-1-2-2 as one of them because of the fact that I think it would make sense for my general situation in regards to the formations that I have and whatnot, right? So the 4-4-2 that I have in my custom tactics, I'm actually going to change that because of the type of quality players that I have, right? So what you guys see here, right, is you're looking at three midfielders in Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo Sanchez, and Laurent Blanc that can be played in the midfield, right? So Laurent Blanc, medium-high work rates, Ronaldo Sanchez, and Bruno Fernandes, high work rates. Yes, Bruno Fernandes doesn't have defensive capabilities, but he does have the high work rates with a 4-star, right? So, and he's also got pretty decent height as well. So with that being taken into account, you could already see that the way that I'll line up with this game initially in game is going to be a 4-2-3-1, and I'll show you guys exactly how that would be lined up. This balance one, I had a conversation with a guy on Twitter. This is never used. I think this right here is the default tactics they give you. I don't even know what this is, but this is never what I use in game, right? I will only use this ultra defensive one, which is again balance 5 and 5. It's just this one, the width and players in the box, I set to possession based. The 4-4-2, which we are going to be changing because of the new additions to the team. The 4-2-3-1, which is the one that I normally use, and then the 3-4-1-2, depending on the situation of the game. So our main one that we usually use is the 4-2-3-1. Now, as you guys know, I don't like to abuse things that I find to be really stupid, right? So if I ever use overload ball side, it'll be with tactics like this. Overload ball side is a very effective tactic if you use specific tactics, right? It's the drop back, the one width, the one depth, or not even the one width, but the one depth tactics. That's when it's really irritating because when they drop back so much, right? The midfielders, the attackers, they start to transition back as well and clog that general middle area, and you can't pass it, right? If I use overload ball side with this tactic, imagine it like this. If they're on 5 depth and 5 width, that means that they're higher. If they overload a ball side to the left or to the right side, the other side's going to be wide open, right? Now, it's not always going to be the case because the tactic itself is still very overpowered, right? So that's why I refrain from using it most of the times. The only reason I will ever use overload ball side with team press or anything like that is if I notice that my opponent is playing a specific way to annoy you, which these are the worst types of people in the community, right? They just want to play that way to annoy the person. So I have tactics set up to get the ball back from people doing that. With the overload ball side team press and that 3-4-1-2 formation that we have. So this is just a generic one. I like to play basic FIFA. I don't like to abuse mechanics, okay? That I wish EA were to just disable it entirely, because if I have a 3-4-1-2 with team press, they'll get the ball back eventually, right? So 5 and 5, 5 and 3, because I like to play basic, balance, and balance. In regards to the instructions, guys, right? I'm going to show you guys what I'm using. Stay back while attacking for the fullbacks. Cut passing lanes. Stay back while attacking cover center. This is something that I always change depending on the situation of the game, because I'll notice that cut passing lanes sometimes is a little bit more aggressive in regards to pushing up, and they're not really in that semicircle area of the 18-yard box, and that's usually where I want my CDMs to be. So it really depends on the situation of the game in regards to if I should switch it. I wish that each formation I had actually had subcategories in it, because a lot of the formations tend to be bad because you can't do quick switches with that specific formation. And that bothers me because I wish I could, do that, because sometimes I'm like, I know the 4-2-3-1 is the right formation right now, but I need to switch certain instructions with the players, right? So I have come back in defense for all three of the cams. This is one of the subcategories that I'm talking about. Sometimes in game, I actually want to switch this to stay on the edge of the box. I don't feel like having them in the attacking area is any sort of beneficial for me to catch them on a counterattack or whatever it is, because I just feel like it's just not necessary at all, right? The reason why sometimes you want to have them on stay on the edge of the box is if someone is playing super defensive. Balanced crosses, if you take it in, get into the box with the cross, that's effective if you want to go on this counterattack where this is not on comeback and defense and this is on basic or stay forward. Because if you go on the counterattack and you're on the sides and you have this opening, your left and right attacking mid, because they're on stay forward, they're going to go ahead and utilize that space in behind the fullbacks. And then you could do the low cross and they could do a first time shot. But for me, I find that situation to rarely happen because most people have stay back while attacking for the fullbacks anyways, right? So it's only when you notice that someone is overcommitting their fullbacks that you want to use something like that. But for the sake of the video and regards all the formations tactics that I use, we're gonna just quickly brush up on it. I could specifically do videos for each formations in regards to very situational stuff. I could do that in the future. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to let me know in the future. But basic wise, everything's on comeback defense. Without the overload ball side tactic, they will stop at a specific line that EA implemented in a patch. Even if the players were incredibly higher from this line, I would still use comeback and defense, because when I receive possession of the ball in the defensive area, I want my players to be close to me so that I can transition forward. I don't have comeback and defense for Ozyman because Ozyman has I think 84 stamina, and I want him to be at his full potential when I get the ball. He's a tall player, has physical presence, so if I cross the ball to him, he can head it to one of my 3 camps, making the transitioning runs forward, right? So again, but it's very situational. Sometimes I don't want them to come back in defense because I feel like I need that extra attacking presence all the time, and you just can't switch that as you're playing, right? Which sucks, because like I said, I wish that each one had a subcategory. In regards to the 3-4-1-2 formation, constant pressure, this is when in 2 different situations I need a goal back, or I notice that the opponent is playing a specific way where, you know, he wants to hold on to the ball, and I'm more than willing to risk my defense being open, right? I have the width set to very high because it makes the play very sporadic. You don't know what the players are going to do. Players in the box will probably set to 6 just to really pile that pressure onto the opponent. So yeah, constant pressure on 5 width, 6 depth, just so we can get that ball back. But that is in combination with overload ball side and team press, depending on the situation. Sometimes it's just team press. It's just a matter of how I'm seeing my players move when they're on the pitch, right? Sometimes, if I notice that my defense is way too open, I'll switch back to a 4-2-3-1, and then the opponent chooses not to play that way anymore because he notices that if he does, he'll be more susceptible to the counterattack because he doesn't know what formation I'm switching to, right? So, you know, it's just one of those situations. In regards to instructions, we have comeback and defense for the left and right mid. We're going to keep that unbalanced because I feel like that works better for me in my general playstyle. For the CDMs, we have stay back while attacking, stay on the edge of the box for the cross, and cover center. We're going to go ahead and take out stay on the edge of the box for the cross because we want to pile that pressure on the opponent. Comeback and defense for the cam. Don't necessarily mind that. And for the 2 strikers up top, we have Bolasie on getting behind, and then the other striker on balanced. You can see that because of the quality of players here, we're looking at a Bolasie that has different work rates to Ozyman, right? So this is where player quality is very important for the tactics that you choose to use. So let's just look at Ozyman, for instance. He's a high work rated player, and Bolasie is a medium low work rated player, right? So with the medium low work rates and the getting behind with physical presence, good pace, Bolasie is going to do that instruction really nicely, right? With Ozyman, on balanced instructions with high, he kind of acts like a target man / getting behind / false 9 type striker, right? Because of the stats that he specifically has. So having him on balanced instructions up top and allowing him to move the way that he wants to move is an ideal situation for me. So that's why I have the 3-4-1-2 set up the way that I do, just to make the play very random. This is the formation that we're going to be switching to. So we're going to be using the 4-1-2-1-2. narrow one, right? Because sometimes I do want to play narrow. This is something that I have to experiment with. I don't know exactly how I would like the formation to be set up. Most of the formations that I set up in drafts and when I'm playing the game is always 5 and 3. And then sometimes because of the player quality and the way that the formation is using with the player quality in the team, I have to switch the tactics because of that. Sometimes I have to switch to possession build-up. With 4-1-2-2, I like the possession build-up the most. So I'll show you guys exactly how I would line up. So with Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo Sanchez being good players to have in a team, I will put Bruno Fernandes off to the right side and Ronaldo Sanchez off to the left. Balassi would be up top as a striker, and then Bernardo Silva will play as the cam. So in regards to this 4-1-2-2, this will be subject to review in the future because it would have to be a matter of me checking it out and seeing exactly how I'd want the team to move. But generally speaking, the way that I'd want this team to move is to be stay back while attacking for that, stay back while attacking, cover center, and cut passing lanes for the CDMs. Center mids are untouched, come back on the fence for the cam, and then the two strikers would be on bounce except for Balassi on get and behind. Now, again, this is all because of the types of players that you have in your team. The quality of players are very, very important for you to rotate a specific way. With the 4-4-2, where am I going to put Bruno Fernandes? Nowhere, right? So in a 4-1-2-2, it makes the most sense to clog up that midfield as much as possible. And then last but not least, we have our last formation, which I barely use. It's just a matter of trying to kill off the game. If I notice that I need my players closer to me because the opponent decides to never team press against me, I'll switch to my possession-based build-up with 4-2-3-1, width to be small, possession so that the players come close to me so that I could hold on to the ball as much as possible, and then I basically transition from there. The instructions are on stay back while attacking, cut passing lanes, for the CDM, stay back while attacking, cover center, come back in defense, but because this is the killing off the game part, you don't want them to commit ever inside the 18-yard box. Come back in defense and false 9 so that Ozzy Main plays more like a midfielder. So, yeah, this one I barely use. It's, like I said, it's just a matter of the situation in game if I feel like I need to kill off the game in the last like 5-7 minutes or whatever it is, right? And then the balanced one, from the guy that was watching my videos, I never use this. This is just for me to get the tactics. I mean, I could. A 4-1-4-1 or a 4-5-1 is actually a decent formation under the right circumstances. And it's not like I have the players in bad positions because I actually have them in decent positions. So I could experiment with this formation in the future as well. But this is all a matter of if I play this game enough in the future where I'm trying out these formation and tactics constantly, trying out to see what works the best with what players and formations. Because of the way that the game modes are set up in FIFA with division rivals and foot drafts with foot champs, it's harder for me personally to experiment with formations. Like if I had this video back in, I would say FIFA 15, you guys would have had so many different formations and tactics for me because honestly, that game, when I like obviously inconsistent gameplay was a thing at that time too, but when I used to play that game, I used to have like a notepad of my tactics for every situation in the game. Sometimes I'd be using like a 4-1-2-2 back in the day, narrow, and I'd be like, okay, this is not working, I need to switch my formation because I don't think they had dynamics back then, so I had to switch it in game as I was playing it. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the video today. We'll see what they do for Winter's Refresh tomorrow. I actually might stream today because I haven't streamed in a while, but I definitely want to get back into it. The only reason why I haven't streamed consistently, guys, is because of the state of FIFA. If it was a consistently good game, I would be on it consistently, but it's just a matter of if the game performs up to standard or not. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and end the video there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. I will catch you guys for the next one tomorrow. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.